part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Out to our friend Krista Huff joining us. Talk a little money. Krista, good morning. Hello, Krista.
Hey, how are you, Kevin?
I was a little worried about there. We went to you a couple times, and I thought the bear or the bull got you.
No, I just pressed the wrong button on my phone, that's all.
Well, look, I press a lot of wrong buttons around here all the time, but great to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
What do you make of what's going on with the markets? Is this the biggest, baddest, boldest ever?
We're still in a bull market, and all the major market averages just started reaching new highs again in June. And this was after trading sideways for a year and a half. They just kept going up to the same point and coming back down over and over again. So now that they're just beginning to reach new highs, this is the beginning of what I think will be an uptrend. Now, granted, I'm not expecting the market to go up 20% between now and the end of the year or anything quite that bullish, but I do expect an uptrend. And anyone who's invested today, I would assume that they would have a higher account value by the end of the year, unless someone drops a nuclear bomb somewhere in the world.
Wow. And yet, yeah, people keep saying that there's got to be an end to this thing.
Why does there have to be an end? That's the real question, because the stock market reflects corporate successes. And in theory, as the years go by, as companies grow their profits, their share prices grow. And the entire purpose of corporations is to succeed and grow. So it would actually be unusual for markets to go down over the long term. And it would be normal for them to go up over the long term. And that's what they've done over, the entire history of the stock market.
You think about this, though. I mean, is this the longest run we've ever had?
I don't know if it is. But I would say since we just traded sideways for 18 months, that's, a really good consolidation period. It gives the market a long period of resting. Now, granted, during that 18 months, we had quite a few swings downward and back up. But basically, the market churned in place for a year and a half. It's not like it just went straight up for a year and a half and now it's still going up. In which case I would be telling people, okay, take some money off the table. We just had an 18-month run. We actually didn't. We just had 18 months of sideways movement. So I'm very relaxed about the current upswing.
Krista Huff joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. What about the current political climate? Does that impact will that impact the markets at all when we have everybody going crazy on Twitter and television and everything else?
Certainly when the candidates announce their plans to change things in healthcare, that usually causes healthcare stocks to plummet for a day or a week. So I would tread carefully in the healthcare arena whether you're an investor or a trader. But in general, I'm not expecting the political climate to affect the stock market. However, I am wondering what's going to happen with the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Now, I can't remember going back any major scandal involving people affecting the stock market in a great way. Perhaps an assassination, right? But that's a one-time thing where everybody's shocked and boom, they might all sell stocks on the same day. But the reason I mentioned the Jeffrey Epstein scandal is that we are reading a lot of murmurings that many famous people are going to get caught up in this situation. And we won't know until there are new indictments and investigations, right? But how famous do these people need to be before the stock market starts reacting? If an extraordinarily famous and powerful person gets caught up in this, will investors lose confidence and start selling stocks? I think that's a real big question that people need to think about.
What do you make of the housing market? It's blowing up here. Is it blowing up in Denver?
The housing market is starting to cool off in many places. The amount of people who are competing to buy particular homes has been drastically reduced just in the last year, and Bloomberg wrote about that recently. There's a market, I think it's San Jose, where the average home for sale had 74% of those homes for sale had competing bids, and this year it's just 6% of those homes have competing bids. So everybody needs to sit up and take notice. More importantly, over the next decade, we're going to have a very large number of baby boomers selling their very large homes that they raised between like 3 and 10 kids in, right? And there are not enough millennials and Generation Z who are going to be in a financial position or a family-sized position to buy those homes. So we're going to see, I believe, a glut of homes on the market for an extended number of years that's going to drive home prices down.
Krista Huff joining us. Krista, anything else that we should be looking out for?
I would say for investors, we've gone through an unprecedented period of time where defensive stocks like Pepsi and Procter & Gamble have been thriving, whereas cyclical stocks have not. Meanwhile, the cyclical companies are doing well, right? But the stocks are not. So now we have this huge disparity between the valuations on the cyclical stocks versus the reality of their companies. And so at some point, the pendulum swings and cyclical stocks are way, way overdue to rise. So for people who like to invest for a several-year time period, I would say go shopping amongst cyclical stocks.
And if people want to get a hold of you, what can they do?
They can visit CabotWealth.com. Cabot is CABOT, and there are a variety of stock market advisories there, and I write the one that's called Cabot Undervalued Stocks Advisor.
Are you staying out of trouble?
No.
Good. Wow.
No, that you can't make an impact in the world if you stay out of trouble. So you got to, stick your neck out there and let people slap you around so that you can go ahead and accomplish what you need to accomplish, right?
Yeah. Krista Huff, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Take care.
All right, you too. Shorty in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Shorty.
Good morning, Kevin. With respect to your discussion on the president's tweets, I had to look them up this morning. And this is just an observation of mine. The only name mentioned in the 3-tweet sequence is that of Nancy Pelosi. There's no other names mentioned in this sequence of comments. And I just wanted to point out that, as any parent knows, their guilty 5-year-old will be the first one to blame somebody else. That's just how these Congress people have identified themselves as being the ones to which President Trump has addressed his comments.
Well, it is fascinating, though. He didn't mention any names, and now they're on the TV. They're everywhere, and we've got the House condemning him. We've got impeachment, and the economy is roaring. It's crazy.
Well, everybody knew. That's a bad statement. Everyone understood who he was addressing, but he didn't name them. They named themselves.
Sure.
So that's just my observation, and I thought I'd pass it on to you. Thanks.
Well, Shorty, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I do want to remind you, coming up, we've got the Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic. Going to be just around the corner. Going to be a wonderful time at Ann Morrison Park. It's a free event. For more details, you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com. Kevin Miller in the morning, taking your phone calls, where we have the Democratic female congresswoman saying that they've been attacked. They're fighting back. You've got one of them calling the president the occupant in the White House, and you think to yourself, really? Is that what it's come to? Let's go to Liberal Steve with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, America. And Mr. You're not transgender, right, Kevin?
Why would you even say that?
Well, I've always wondered, and I just,
You've always wondered if I was a transgender.
Well, you didn't answer, yes or no.
No, I am not a transgender.
Okay.
I'm a one gender. I'm a one gender. Male gender.
Oh, okay.
What are you?
Max,
A lot of people would like to know what you are.
I'm a homophobic.
I don't know what that is.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it works.
But anyway, the Bible says, and your people that like to quote the Bible a lot, Luke 6:4-5 says, "The good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and the evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For out of the overflow of his heart, his mouth speaks." Donnie, Senior and Junior. That's all I've got to say.
No, that wasn't much.
People, don't be aggressive out there driving today. You can be assertive, but don't you be aggressive. And officers, keep your eyes pinned because there's a lot of cannabis coming across that border.
Well, we're going to
fired
get
up,
hold
Miller.
on. We're going to get back to you and your little canvas or cannabis soon.
You want me to hold on?
No, I'm just going to let you know that we haven't forgotten about you and your cannabis crusade.
My cannabis what?
Exactly. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Well, we move on. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio.
Live for us in Frisco, Texas.
There we have it. Back to the phones. Let's go to John in Middleton with Kevin Miller. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you today, sir?
Living the dream, and you?
Same here, man. Simple Steve cracks me up. You know, he's not like a typical liberal, but he's not too extreme. I'm sure he's a firearm owner and stuff like that, and he loves the benefits of living in a conservative state like Idaho. But you know, it's funny to hear him quote that scripture. Do you remember when he had that outburst out of the overflow of his heart when he rushed to judgment and called those innocent Covenant Catholic kids a bunch of crackers? You remember he called over his show and said that?
Right.
Steve, what's up with that, man? Did you ever genuinely repent and apologize for rushing to judge those innocent kids, or you just that's something that's out the overflow of your heart?
That's a
all
good
I
point.
got.
All right, John. Thank you.
All right. Take care, man.
You too. Appreciate John in Middleton. Terry from State College, Pennsylvania on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Terrence.
Good morning, Kevin. I'll tell you, this is stupid with Steve Hour that you got going on there.
Did
That's
you
a
say
real winner.
stupid with Steve Hour?
Yes, stupid with Steve Hour.
Boy, that's mean spirited.
Oh, you should. No, I'm just, hey, it is what it is,
You know, there's
Stupid
been a
is-
rivalry with you and Liberal Steve for years.
Well, there's no rivalry there.
I
just
remember
stupid
you
is
even
stupid
bought him. I
Dutch.
remember you bought him dinner once, and he still was mean to you.
Well, he just means everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in and out of the state a lot here recently. Every time I turn on the radio, he's criticizing, let's see, Tea Party Bob or Liberty Linda. He's always criticizing somebody. He has such a critical spirit. And now he's looking for a transgender roommate or something. I mean, the guy just goes off in all these weird places. I mean, it's no wonder it's called the Stupid with Steve Hour.
Well, that's not
Wow.
very nice to personally attack
Yeah.
people,
But anyways, nonetheless. And, he would make a great cabinet member with any one of the squad members if ever they made it into higher office. Think about it. Cortez, he would work perfect with Cortez. I mean, the same absolute lunacy just rolls out of all their mouths. It's beyond understanding anymore. I don't even get it. This is like a cheap B-class movie that never made it out of the movie theater. And they only showed it in the dime movie in the back alley. Woo! Anyways, back to real life. I've had the opportunity to speak to different, per se, liberals in different states, and there's one thing that none of them will disagree with. And if President Trump were simply allowed to do what he's supposed to do, our economy would take off in ways that we can't even imagine, in ways that none of us have ever seen. Now, none of them are Trump fans, but they have to admit, and the economy is doing good. And then from there, politics, and he's not a very good social communicator, blah, 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 the usual liberal garbage. and I can't figure out why they don't like him. What is it about him that makes him less of a leader than Barack Obama, insane, or Bill Clinton, or I just can't figure it. And they don't have answers either. They just don't like him. Have you ever seen that mentality before where, I don't know, I just don't like him?
It makes what their coverage of President Bush seem loving.
Go figure.
And
Well,
they called
Kevin,
Bush, and they called Bush Hitler.
I know, but Bush, they called Hitler, but remember, the Bush family and their connection to Nazi Germany and, Prescott Bush and all that, I mean, I understand why they did it.
Wait a minute. George Bush fought the Nazis. He was shot down in World War II.
Prescott Bush was selling Nazi Germany oil when nobody else was allowed. Prescott Bush helped them bring IBM into Germany. Now, we're talking Prescott, not George.
That was his daddy.
Great. Daddy. So there was a connection there. But nonetheless, Liberal Steve, I think you just need to give him a full 10 minutes of his own time. Really, then we could have a full Stupid with Steve hour. I mean, that would be an award winner, don't you think? In fact, if you could broadcast, because I take my satellite radio out in the mountains with me, if you could broadcast by satellite, that would be something. You could have it around the nation. Then people around the country would understand what they're missing by not listening to KIDO Radio and Kevin Miller here in Boise. It would be a winner. It really would.
Well, thank you. We had our run at going national a few years ago, and, we get calls all the time to, hey, we want you to go work here. A couple weeks ago, you had people in Memphis calling. As long as you guys will have us, we our home and our focus is here. National radio is, it's very impersonal, unless you're Sean Hannity or Glenn Beck. And even then, Sean is an excellent host. But the other ones, it's, and Dave Ramsey changes lives and such. But I'm trying to be politically correct without appearing to knock anybody. But, it's very rare that a national host really makes a difference. We've seen Glenn Beck do that in the past, but to be able to be in a community and to make a difference, whether it's raising money or raising awareness, that's the magic. So many times people in this business, they focus in on the next step, and you see it in TV where you have the young people here. I love and then they're off to I love Phoenix and I love whatever. And I always love the whole phony, the faux sincerity, but that's the nature of the business.
Well, again, I think your award-winning part right now is the Stupid with Steve hour. I mean, he.
I think. Hold on, I think we've got that after like the seventh time you said it. So.
I just think it's a wonderful title for what he represents.
Well,
there's nothing intelligent.
I want to thank you for this, because I'll be hearing complaints about you from him very soon.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's like a fraternity here.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. We're just one big happy family, and he just happens to be the runt that was born that everybody kind of pities.
Well, thank you, Terry. It's been a while since we've heard from you.
Yes, Kevin, I'm off searching the countryside for gems and having a good time.
You truly could be the Gem State Patriot.
I never thought about that. Boy, wouldn't that TPB when he get angry? Nonetheless. But you're doing a great job, as usual. We're glad to be back. Unfortunately, we're taking off again in a couple more weeks, and wish we could take you with us. Boy, that would be cool.
Oh, yes. I'm a joy on trips.
Oh, yeah. The traveler.
Yeah, you can ask my parents what a joy I am in the car. Anyway, Terry, God bless.
God bless, young man. Take care.
Take care. All right, Terry, State College, Pennsylvania. Kevin Miller in the morning. Time to get you to work safely and on time. Where did the time go in this hour? Good morning, Dave.
Was responding to a minor crash.
Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Taking your phone calls until Glenn Beck. Don't forget, Girls with Guns 2019 Independence Indoor Shooting. You can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com and sign up. We want as many girls to win as possible. 3 grand prize winners, a membership to Independence Indoor Shooting, which is so cool. the longest shooting range in the Treasure Valley in the Northwest, 100-yard shooting range. Your chance to win a rifle from Ruger, I believe, and a safe from Rhino Safes. Oh, yeah. We got it all going on. Details at KIDOTalkRadio.com. So we've been talking about the shenanigans in the House of Representatives yesterday. Nancy Pelosi saying that the Good Samaritan wouldn't do this, quoting the Bible. You've got Omar. You've got Cortez. You've got all of these folks, one of them calling the president the occupant in the White House. Can you believe that? Look, both sides could act more like adults. But what the president is onto is an undercurrent of resentment that has been building for years throughout most good Americans. They're tired of people. And let me just say this, apologize in advance, because they used to say it all the time when we were kids. Snot-nosed little kids that are espousing anti-American views while being an elected member of Congress. There is an inherent duty and responsibility that you don't bash America when you're an elected official. Eric Trump, what say you?
I love the tweet, if you don't love our country, get out, leave. If you complain about our country, go to somewhere, go experience somewhere else in the world. I've seen a lot of the world. Right? We have it so great in America. America is doing so well. We're the best at absolutely everything.
That's why they don't want to go to live anywhere else except in America, right? Now, recently, CNN had a chance to talk to a group of women that they thought would turn on the president. What happened was something shocking to CNN.
With President Trump telling 4 Democratic congresswomen to go back where they came from.
He was saying that if they hate America so much, because what we're seeing out of them and hearing out of them, they hate America. If it's so bad, there's a lot of places they can go.
I'm a brown-skinned woman. I am a legal immigrant. I agree with him.
You don't think that's racist to say that?
Not at all.
No, actually, I think it's it's a demonstration of how their ideology spills over. Even though they're American now, so to speak, they're not acting American.
I'm glad that the president said what he said, because all they're doing is they're inciting hatred and division, and that's not what our country's about. It's not about that at all. And
Isn't that what the president does with some of his own comments? His own racist comments?
But he didn't say anything about color.
We know the president is not racist. He loves people from, Hispanics to black people all across the board.
Let me just share with you the definition of racism from...
There we have it. You're asking women, he's not a racist. Now, the devious little libs will go on and on about this. Where did he mention anything racist? As we've said earlier, and if you go to our KIDO Talk Radio app or the website, you can get the podcast. You've got one of those congresswomen at the Netroots thing calling people out, saying, ethnicity, what have you, black faces, brown faces. If you don't echo the voices, then all of a sudden you have no right to speak, right? Now, that's a racist statement. You have Congresswoman Omar that should have been censored by the House for saying anti-Semitic remarks. You have others. What was it? The other one, Congresswoman Presley, I think her name is, saying these things. Then you have David Horowitz telling us, look, man, fundraisers for Al-Qaeda, or not Al-Qaeda, for Hezbollah and Hamas. You have people, Representative Omar not saying that she will denounce Al-Qaeda. Where is that? Can you say that? And where are the racists here? Is it President Trump that said to no one in particular, you don't like America, you can go? Pro-Life joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yeah, it's all pretty hilarious. And it's so, grade school kind of mentality. You have to take a side, you can't just be reasonable and really think about what's true. You have to say, And I think it was Terry from college from Pennsylvania. He was talking about he was going around talking to liberals, and they all couldn't really tell him why they didn't like Trump. Well, the reason is because they're just grade school idiots, that their peers don't like Trump, so they can't like Trump. And on our side, we can't. We have to hate. I don't know if you want to use the word hate, but we have to hate like the 4 women congressmen, and we have to have some kind of emotion about all of this stuff on our side. And so we never talk about the real issues. We just go back and forth about personalities. I think it's really pretty stupid and pretty hilarious, but hey, we're doing it right here. I mean, we're talking about the very thing that I'm saying is
sure,
really
but you
ridiculous.
have the House of Representatives voting to condemn the president.
Yeah.
The Speaker of the House was corrected, but because the Democrats have the majority, it still goes on the record calling the President of the United States a racist. These are big issues. These are important issues.
Yeah, they really are. And but it just shows how our nation, we say we're the greatest nation. Well, how could the greatest nation, I guess you'd say spiritually and intellectually and emotionally, how could we be saying the stupid stuff we're doing? I mean, it's really pretty ridiculous. And the Democrats are totally out of it. And then Trump plays on that, and then, I think it's just we're getting what we deserve because we're just so childish. And some of it's on both sides. Our side isn't immune from that. I mean, if we wanted to take up the real issues like murdering babies, sexual perversion, socialism being theft,
right,
and all that stuff.
All right, pro-life, thank you for the call.
All right, we'll see you.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning.
No, he dated a black woman for 2 years. 2 of his wives are immigrants. He is not a xenophobic racist.
If the black billionaire is endorsing President Trump, how can you call him racist? So these
There you have it. More from that CNN clip in a minute here on KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And again, we'll take your calls until Glenn Beck. KIDO Talk Radio is your home for Fox News on the radio. Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern. Jared, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
So,
what do you want to talk about?
A big day yesterday in the House. Well, we'll just get your impressions of what happened, and then we'll talk a little debt limit. But your thoughts?
Yeah. Listen, the vote on the resolution was putting aside, I guess, the contents of the resolution for just a second. Just the sort of education we all got, I guess, on these rules of procedure and decorum in the House were I mean, listen, it was the first time in 30 years that a Speaker of the House was found to have been out of order. Obviously, the House voted then to undo that, and Speaker Pelosi did not lose any of her speaking privileges on the floor. But it goes to show some of the, I guess, rhetorical challenges that Democrats are going to face probably over the next couple of years, you would think. This is not a debate that's going to go away. The condemnation of President Trump for the things he says, for the things he tweets will continue. It's going to play out again, we think, later this afternoon. Congressman Al Green, a Democrat from Texas, has introduced articles of impeachment. We think that there's going to be a vote in some form or fashion. I'm not sure how it's going to play out yet on articles of impeachment this afternoon between 4 and 5 Eastern time here in Washington. And it's directly tied to the tweets and comments that the president has made against these 4 Democratic congresswomen of color.
And yet we have this issue with the deficit and the debt, and we could be running out of money again.
Well, this is always the toughest vote for members of Congress, raising the debt limit. It's tough for Republicans. It's going to be tough for Democrats. And so what Nancy Pelosi and the White House are trying to do is find a way to make that vote maybe a little bit more manageable, a little bit more easy to swallow. And so what they've been working on is this broader budget deal that would essentially get rid of sequestration. It would raise spending caps, both for defense and non-defense. There are going to be debates about how much you raise each, and Republicans don't want, discretionary spending to go up too much, and Democrats are going to complain that you can't raise defense without raising other agencies. So that's playing out. And then the idea would be if they can reach an agreement before the August recess, which is, a week after next, that they'd be able to tie that vote to the debt limit, to raise the debt limit. That is something that Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, says needs to happen before August recess, that he's going to run out of these extraordinary measures to continue paying off the debt by to borrow money by the end of August. And so that's the rub is, if that's a vote that they take by itself, a standalone vote to raise the debt limit, that is a tough vote for members of Congress to take. They usually try and find a way to couple that with something else. One idea is obviously this sequestration vote to ease some of these spending concerns for the Pentagon and other agencies. So far, they don't have a deal. There's sort of conflicting reports on how close they are. Yesterday, Chuck Schumer suggested that they were actually pretty close, he thought, to a deal. Some in the House have offered that maybe they're a little bit further away, although Speaker Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin have had a ton of phone calls back and forth, multiple phone calls yesterday, more phone calls scheduled today because Mnuchin's out of the country. And she seems to be working much better with him than she was with the Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, who is a member of the House of Representatives, you may recall, was fiercely opposed to any raises of the debt limit.
Jared, we appreciate it. To be continued. Thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. More of your phone calls, and let's go to the phones. Our great friend Ron Grant joining us. Ron, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are we doing today?
Good to have you with us, the original Safer Money Specialist. Ron, welcome once again. Tell everybody here on KIDO Talk Radio, how can they keep their hard-earned money 100% safe, and how can they go hang out with Big Ron?
Well, I don't know about hanging out unless we can get some car shows, but as far as keeping your money safe, back in 2008 and 2009 when the market tanked almost 50%, my clients and I, we got a zero. And a zero is always better than a loss. I'm going to let you get a reasonable range of return. We're going to help you stop paying those pesky fees that you're paying to your financial planner, your stockbroker, your 401k company. Remember, when you pay those fees, it eats up your returns. We're also going to show you how to have a guaranteed lifetime income that you can't outlive. And then when you've passed away, your beneficiaries will get the balance. So we need about 35 minutes. I do make house calls. I'll show you how to keep that money safe where you can't lose it. And you know what? Bottom line is everyone, I'm sure, would like to get a check in the mail. I help my clients get mailbox money that they can live on for the rest of their life.
And you use your own products.
Oh, yeah. I have 3 of the index-linked accounts for my own retirement. I own no stocks, no bonds, no mutual funds. I think as we get older, Kevin, we should have less money and risk. And we know that, Wall Street's lost your money not once, but twice in the last decade, almost 50%. And I'm just too darn old to start losing my pennies that I've worked so hard for. So I keep it safe, and that's what I do for my clients, and that's what I've done for myself.
Ron Grant, the original Safer Money Specialist, how can people get a hold of you?
They can call 208-660-1372, and make sure you tune into the show with you and I every Saturday from 2 to 3, and we talk about safer money solutions on how to keep that money safe where you can't lose the principal or the gains.
Well, I can't wait to hear what you have to say this Saturday at 2.
I think it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time as usual, and I know you're going to play some songs to try to stump me. I'm hoping I'm going to be up on it.
We'll work on stumping you, Ron. Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy.
All right. Our great friend Ron Grant joining us, the Safer Money Solution Show, every Saturday at 2, right here on KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave. Let's go to Tom in Nampa on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Kevin. Kevin, the lack of civility we have in Congress and Senate today, it ain't nothing compared to the old days.
Yeah.
They actually had to pass a resolution that congresspersons couldn't issue challenges to duels on the floor of Congress, which, in retrospect, may have been a bad idea. I think if they had to back up their words with their lives, there might be a little more politeness inside the Beltway. That's just my opinion, mine, but I'm pretty certain about that.
Whatever happened to sometimes, Tom, you have to, I don't know, you have to behave responsibly like the rest of us adults have to do, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, for the greater good. But Pelosi, the four, they just keep making things up, and it's getting, as Jared Halpern said, now we're going to have this impeachment thing. That does no good. They hate this man so much.
Well, honestly, I would like to see some psych tests given. I'm serious. I think these guys and gals, don't want to be sexist, don't want to get the
right.
National Association of Gals on me, the NAGs. There might just be a little bit of lunacy running around loose. It just, they're so obsessed. Was it obsessive compulsive disorder? They're so obsessed about this one item that they're tunnel vision on anything else.
Right.
And that's, don't let these people have a set of car keys, okay? They have drivers, right?
The Congress people don't. They drive themselves, except Pelosi.
Okay, that
except leadership.
Could be yeah. That could be a problem. Oh, I got when you talk about them being detached from things.
Yeah.
They talk about this healthcare business. I would like someone to ask them, healthcare, the same healthcare for everyone. Does that include Congress? Because they have their own healthcare system,
and it's pretty
good.
Like
they get their own retirement system.
Yeah.
They don't pay Social Security. Congress does not pay Social Security. They have their own separate retirement system. And I'm like, wait a minute, Cochise. If it's not good enough for you, why is it good enough for me? Same thing with their health care. I remember, oh, good Lord, 35, 40 years ago, they did a town hall down at the public library in Boise. And somebody asked Sims asked this one guy who was talking about the health care system, what kind of health care system do you want, sir? I want the same health care system that you have. Kind of shut down that line of questioning right then and there. I want AOC and her, 4 horse persons of the apocalypse to tell me that they're going to have the same system as everybody else.